And then, all right, now come down the tree. And then back up. And then, cut.
You're welcome.
All right, well, let's talk DVDs. You got a stack here.
Yeah,
What kind of DVDs are these? Did you say The Matrix is in
well,
here?
nah, definitely not. This is yeah, it's like a Blu-rays. Mike is from born. He was born
Oh, what is he?
a long time ago.
16 millimeter? Kodak. Don't go wrong.
So let's be straight. We wanted to have segments for our gift guide where we talk about movies and recommend DVDs to you, and we are all excited to get
Blu-rays.
stuff and Blu-rays and whatever else that we get at Christmas. And these geek guides are sort of, let's face it, sort of like window shopping for geeks. You get to see a lot of cool stuff, and it's fun. You know, even if you don't end up
Let us
buying
be your
anything.
windows to the movies.
But we wanted to make a special plea this year for the people that are making movies available to you versus, say, streaming, which I know Mike and I both stream.
Of course.
And, just watching stuff on TV. The importance of physical media has never been more apparent to people who love film. And Filmstruck just died. Services like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon are very limiting, and they can be very difficult to sort through. The thing about physical media is it makes movies available to us that aren't very easy to find. And once you have it, you have it. And if you take care of it, especially a Blu-ray, odds are it will last you a very, very long time.
And the golden age of streaming is coming to an end. A lot of people aren't as in on that, but things are actually becoming less available on streaming than they were previously.
Absolutely.
You would think it'd be the opposite, but when streaming first came out, a lot of the distributors thought that it was going to be a cheap way to get their movie out there, but they have since realized that they're giving away, they're killing the goose. So streaming is becoming less and less accessible for smaller, more independent movies. They're looking for bigger deals, and some of them don't get it. Some of them only get up on DVDs or Blu-rays.
Yeah, and I can't tell you, when I go to Fantastic Fest, for instance, how many incredible, sometimes life-changing movies I see. Movies that I carry with me and talk with throughout the year. If you see me talking to myself in the street, that's probably why I'm probably talking to a movie. Never get U.S. distribution. They just never get released. Some of them at all on a physical media. And they just disappear. And that happens way too much of the time, especially in this day and age. So what I want to do right now is I want to highlight a few of the labels that are out there really plugging and doing the hard work. But first, Mike, I wanted to tell you the story because it was what prompted me to want to do this segment this way. I had never gotten a copy of Belladonna of Sadness, which was this incredible erotic Japanese anime that had played Fantastic Fest a few years ago. And I missed the window of opportunity reviewing it. And we had a couple other writers who had gotten copies, and I just, wasn't going to horn in on that. So,
And if you could find this streaming, I'd eat my kimono. Maybe on iTunes Store, but probably not.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you can get Belladonna of Sadness streaming or
Foreign,
not.
kind of a niche genre.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff that's harder to find.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about it is, I wrote the distributor this year thinking, well, it's been out for a year. Maybe I could use it, get a copy, and highlight it in the gift guide. Maybe that would help them out. The company's name is Arbelos Cinelicious Picks. And I had only been sort of marginally aware of them. There's so much stuff that crosses your desk and crosses your path. You can only watch one movie at a time. lo and behold, instead of sending me just Belladonna of Sadness, the guy that runs Cinelicious Picks just sent me everything in their catalog. So I was humbled, to say the least.
Well, what'd they send you?
Before I get to exactly what they sent me, I just want to say that's the kind of heart and soul I see in these smaller companies that are out there trying to make movies like this available to you. You know, here's the last movie, a film by Dennis Hopper, 4K restoration from the original camera negative. Basically, it's got Chris Christopherson, Julie Adams, Peter Fonda, Dean Stockwell, Tony Basil, Russ Tamblyn, and directed by Sam Fuller. What an amazing movie. Hasn't been seen in about 50 years, but it's available because of Cinelicious. Belladonna of Sadness. If you want to see an amazing film, animated film, this will blow your mind. It's a little bit like Mind Game, which Shout Factory just put out. Here's a really intense, creepy psychological thriller called Private Property that stars Warren Oates and Corey Allen. And again, these are movies that aren't going to be available. Adi Shankar presents Gangs of Wasseypur.
Avi Shankar, the sitar player?
No, this is a different Shankar.
Oh, okay. Adi. Okay.
Adi. Funeral, Parade of
Adi.
Roses. Funeral, Parade of Roses, and avant-garde short films, Toshio Matsumoto early works. Funeral, Parade of Roses is an incredibly influential film. And here you go. And again, all of these are packed to the nines with extras. So, Jane B. Parr, Agnes 5, Kung Fu Master, 2 films by Agnes Varr, starring Jane Birkin. So, for those of you, Agnes Varr has had a lot of stuff released recently. Here's a way to see a couple of her films. So, this is from Cinelicious Picks. And I want to thank them publicly for sending me all these. I'm so excited and can't wait to just be able to dig into all of them.
What city are they located in?
You know, I don't know where Cinelicious is located. I would imagine it's in California. Could be wrong. Doesn't say. In any event, you can find them online at CineliciouSpicks.com. I believe.
That is sin with a C, not an S.
Yes. Cine, C-I-N-E. Another label, and another example of real kind-heartedness. If you don't know David Gregory, that's too bad. Because I know a lot of people who name David Gregory, and he seems like a prince of a guy who's done so much good in the world of genre film. He runs Severin Films. And this is his beautiful restored version of the Horror at Party Beach. It's got tons of extra features on it, but more importantly, Severin released The Changeling with George C. Scott earlier this year. They put together these amazing bundles. They did the Amicus box set, important films starring Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. Very important stuff. And Severin, they're out there plugging. They need us to buy their stuff, and it's worth doing. You will be so happy if you go out and you start exploring these worlds.
That's an interesting cover.
This is John Landis' first movie. It comes to you courtesy of Arrow. They started out as a company in the UK. They're now doing stuff in the US. They have been for a while. I think this is, Arrow Video 172. So they've got quite a little backlog of releases you can go through. This is basically John Landis running around in a gorilla suit that Rick Baker made for him in his parents' garage. And it's a social satire that was written with some of the help from the guys who did the Airplane movies. It's called Schlock, and it is. It's probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen, but there's all the supplemental features on it, and it's, about...
And you've seen E.T.
And I've seen E.T.
Yeah.
So it really has an important place in film history. In the careers that
place is the garbage. But buy it.
Well, the film itself, but not John Landis and Rick Baker. So that's from Arrow Video. Now,
this one looks bad too. What is it?
This is not a bad film. You are a bad person.
Oh, whatever.
This is freaking Candyman. This is one of the greatest horror movies ever made, in my opinion. I love this film. And this is a beautiful new version of it. Arrow did a version in the UK. Here's the US version. Shares some of the same extras. You could get a special edition of this. This comes from Scream Factory, which is a subsidiary of Shout Factory. Now, the thing about it is, sure, we all know about Scream Factory. We know Shout Factory. They're big companies. They're not going anywhere, right? Well, that is not necessarily the case. This is what's in danger of disappearing. Not just these smaller labels and their smaller catalogs, but larger labels that have larger catalogs that are also working really hard to restore things, do 2K and 4K restorations, and provide ample extras for people that want to, study and think about these films and the eras they come from and the careers that they encompass. So don't for a minute think that we wouldn't end up living in a world with Shout Factory or Scream Factory. There's every chance that we could.
Who would think Filmstruck would close?
Yeah, who would have thought Filmstruck would have gone down the tubes? So last but not least, I want to talk about, Synapse Films, and I apologize for not having it here. They did that incredible 4K version of Suspiria, which Mike and I watched before we recorded our Suspiria episode of MindFrames that you'll be able to listen to in a little bit. But that's just, the kind of unbelievable stellar work they've been doing for years. And here's Blue Underground. Now, you would think after giving Zombie the special edition treatment that they have, and they've done it a couple of times, you would think they would have just been done. But now they're releasing the film with like 4 different lenticular covers that are gorgeous if you're into the kind of collections that they are. And there's a new commentary on here. And there's a new interview. And the commentaries and the interviews are with film scholars, guys like Troy Holworth and Stephen Thrower, who are really important historians of what's going on in horror film. So, kudos to Blue Underground and all these other labels. A lot of the extras on these smaller company releases, they are from scholars. They are from next level thinkers when it comes to, these films and what they signify in our culture. So, these are all, fairly relatively recent films that you can get. Really recommend them. And if you buy them, you'll be supporting one of these wonderful little boutique labels that's out there pumping out stuff. And you'll probably be supporting...
Who are we supporting if we buy Frozen?
Really good people. If you buy Frozen, you're actually supporting the Illuminati. But the Illuminati are not run by the cadre of business and corporate people that people think. The Illuminati are actually run by even more shadowy figures that have last names run by that rhyme with stuff like dump and harumph. So I really, again, that's not something that I want to support. I don't think that's something you want to support.
I love Frozen. I'm probably fine.
Okay. Well, I think you need to let it go. Merry Christmas, everybody.